What's up, everybody? This is Jetro, and this is your channel, Big Crazy. Welcome aboard to this chapter 2. If you remember, on chapter 1, we talked about why do we even need money? Why, right? Now, on chapter 2, we're just going to talk about what the heck is money, right? So, I have about 5 points that I want to talk to you about real quick. The first one, let's just dive right into this, okay? The first one is the definition of money, right? We need to know the definition of money. And essentially, money is basically a tool that allows us, humans, to cooperate and avoid exchanging goods with one another, okay? That helps us to be that medium of exchange between us individuals so we can make transactions and buy anything that we want instead of buying the same thing that we can get all the time. I'm going to explain that in a few minutes. But that's the definition of money. It's just a tool. It's just a tool. It's just a tool. It's a tool that helps us cooperate and also be able to accept and exchange goods and services with one another without having to rely on bartering. Okay, so that's the definition. Now, money has a few functions that I want to really tackle real quick. Okay, there are a few functions of money, and the first one is a store of value. I want you to understand that money is meant to be stored, at least to be able to be stored by anyone for a longer period of time. Why? Because we want money to preserve its value. If I give you a $20 bill, you don't want to wake up in the morning and that $20 bill is now worth 10. I think you will be very mad, very pissed. Okay, so that's what we call store of value. That's one of the functions of money. There are three of them. The second one is called medium of exchange. You need to understand that money serves a very essential function as a medium of exchange. What does that mean? That means that money can be exchanged in transactions, passing hands from my hand to your hand, from your hand to my hand, back and forth if needed, as many times as needed, as many times as possible to conduct transactions with one another. That's what we call a medium of exchange. Without money, we're going back to an old time called bartering, where we actually used to exchange things with one another without any intermediary called money. We were using commodity money actually, but that's a little different than the current money that you are familiar with. But that second function of money is called medium of exchange. Okay, now the third one and the last function of money is called unit of account. Unit of account just means that you are able to make economic calculations based on the price of anything. So for example, if you want to buy a car, how do you know the price of a car? How do you value that? That's what the unit of account is that the economy is, well, the money that you're using is easily identifiable so that you can count in it. And the price is set in the economy for that item so that you can make economic calculations based on that price. And the easy way to do that is just to look at the price. That's what the unit of account is. The price is the unit of account in the society today. Now, talked about the definition of money, then we talked about the functions of money. Now, the next part is simply to discuss the properties of money. The reason why we talk about the properties of money, okay, is simply because if uh, if we use potatoes as money, it's not going to last very long. So money needs to serve uh, to have certain properties to be considered money around the world, for all of us to cooperate on this money, to understand this money, to use this money, okay, and to bring value to this money. So basically, money needs to be divisible. Okay, we have to be able to divide it. So if it's a bag of potatoes, it's going to be a little hard to divide that bag of potatoes as much as we want. And it needs to be uh, portable. A bag of potatoes is pretty heavy, or it can be, and you're not going to carry that everywhere you go and every day to conduct transactions with one another. It needs to be uh, portable, said that, divisible, said that, scarce, needs to be rare, and if money is available everywhere, we're having problems, right? We need to be able to either create scarcity or find a money that has scarcity, right? It needs to be rare, unlike the current money that can be printed at will by any government, right? And we just agree to use it because it just makes sense that we are not able to print the money, but somebody else is, and they're telling us that we have to use it, and we use it. So that's one type of money, okay? And those are the different, some of the different properties of money. I'm passing a whole lot of them, but those are kind of the very interesting ones. I think um, money needs to be acceptable, but I think that goes without saying. You're not using money with people who are not using money, right? So, anyways, that's those are the properties of money. Okay. And then the types of money. I think you understand and you know already that money can be used in multiple different types. The main type that we all know in 2025 at least is something called fiat money. That's paper money. That is the money that you are familiar with wherever you are around the world. You use the paper money. There's another form that that money can be found in, which is in your bank account. That is a digital version of the same fiat money. Okay. Very convenient, very useful. You use this every day to make all the purchases that you need to make every single day. And there's a third form of money that we'll revisit a little later on in the next video, and that is the commodity backed money. That is basically something like a gold certificate. This type of money doesn't exist anymore because it's been replaced by the fiat money. But you just need to know that this is another type of money that happened that was actually very much used in the past. Okay, and now the last piece that I want to say before I let you really meditate on this interesting question, which is what is money, is the time preference. There is something called a time preference. Time preference is simply the decision-making process that you go through when you're trying to make a purchase, when you're trying to acquire something, when you're trying to purchase something, you have to make a decision when you are faced with uh, goods and services that are very scarce. That means rare. You have to do one or two things. Either you lower your time preference, that means that you are ready to wait longer to purchase an item that you need. You have the capability, the willingness, the courage sometimes to wait longer for something that you need. Because oftentimes you make the calculation, the economic calculation in your mind that that thing that you will acquire later, that sacrifice that you're making now, will be more valuable in the future. You will reap more reward in the future. On the flip side of that, when you exercising high time preference, that means that you are actually trying to acquire what you need to acquire through a transaction right now, immediately. You are sacrificing the long-term aspect of the benefit that you would have had if you would have made the decision to wait. And you're trying to reap all the benefits, right? Right now, immediately. That's what we call a high time preference. So you need to understand that you make these type of calculations every single day, um, at least quite often as a human being. You have to make choices on what you're going to get first, what you're going to get last, what is more important today, what is less important, and that we're going to revisit tomorrow because it's the best decision for you and because you understand that you're going to get more value in the future. All right. Money, 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 money. This is the money conversation. So thank you so much for joining me today and listening to this very peculiar question, what is money? Those type of questions that only kids ask because they are very curious. They just want to know everything. But grown-ups like us, we don't have time anymore to ask these questions and we leave it up to tomorrow to maybe ask this question. So thank you so much for watching this video today, and I will talk to you in the next video. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.